My colleague Marguerite was in her mid-30s when she was diagnosed with HIV. She was newly married at the time with a partner who was HIV negative. Today, at 60 years young, she is still in that relationship and her partner is still HIV negative. The image that you see in the background here is from a French HIV awareness campaign that revealed one of the most brilliant scientific revelations of our time. People living with HIV have a lot to share. They can't share HIV. That's because HIV treatment, which reduces the virus to undetectable levels, effectively prevents HIV transmission. While the primary aim of this medical strategy is to reduce sexual risk, I also believe it can help people regain their sexual lives. I do feminist quantitative research on sex and love with women living with HIV in Canada. That is, I use surveys in order to advance women's equality and rights in the intimate domain, including not just freedom from harm, but also the right to a satisfying sexual life. In my thesis, I set out to discover two things. First, what does sexuality look like for women living with HIV? And second, how does society shape and influence its expression? To do this, my team and I hired and trained 40 women living with HIV across Canada to conduct surveys with more than 1,400 of their peers. Our most striking finding was how diverse women's sexuality was. Some were satisfied without sex, others enjoyed an active sex life. In fact, 1/4 of all women in our study were in long-term happy and loving sexually active relationships defined by high intimacy and equal power, most commonly with HIV-negative partners. These relationship dynamics not only resulted in the most satisfying and pleasurable sexual experiences, but also better physical and psychological well-being. On the other hand, sexism, violence, stigma, and depression were just some of the societal factors associated with HIV that put a damper on the deed for other women. People think women's sexual pleasure is not important. That's especially true for women with HIV, whose sexuality has been historically constructed as a source of public concern rather than personal pleasure. We have an opportunity to change that. HIV is a treatable, manageable, and preventable condition, much like diabetes. A positive approach to sex that is grounded in human rights is vital to overcoming stigma and promoting women's equality, empowerment, and health. It's time we rethink our prejudices so that my colleague Marguerite and the millions of women like her can live in dignity. Thank you.